It's the end of the school year and everyone's ready for summer. And sometimes it's hard to keep our students engaged. But there are some things that you can do in your classroom that can help your students reflect on what they did this year and get them ready for next year or moving beyond. Hi, I'm Christy. I'm a middle school science teacher with over 25 years experience in classroom, and I love helping other teachers empower their students to take more ownership of their learning. So there are 4 things that you can do at the end of the school year to help your students take stock of what they did this year and also look into the future of what they want to accomplish next. The first thing you want them to do is a reflection. Just like it's good for us to reflect on our school year to look at what went well and what didn't, it's also important for students to do a reflection. Have them think back to the very beginning of the school year. What do they understand at that point for science? What do they understand for English, for math, social studies, their elective they did? How are they feeling back then? And what have they learned this year? What are they now able to do in science that they weren't able to do at the beginning of the year? What are they now able to do in English, in math, in social studies? What new skills did they learn this year? What did they improve upon? What did they find challenging and notice about themselves? So have them actually take that reflection. It can be academic reflection, but can also be a personal reflection about what have they learned about themselves. What are some of their strengths? What are some of their weaknesses? What have they discovered about themselves? So reflection is one thing that your students can do. Something else you might want to do is goal setting for the next year. Now, usually we do a goal setting like at the beginning of the year. The students set their goals for that year. And many times we also do something right when we come back from winter break to set goals for the remaining of the school year. Well, this is also a perfect opportunity to have students set goals for next year. After they reflected on what they've learned, what they have discovered, new skills they have, what are some goals they want to do moving forward? If they have some challenges, maybe they discovered that they have some things that are challenging for them. Maybe that's a goal they're going to work on. I know for some of my students, they're great at typing, but when it comes to penmanship and writing, it's very difficult to read their writing. So that might be a goal that they work on maybe this summer or maybe next year to work on making it so that their writing is legible. Because as we know, going into like high school and college, many of the times the professors and the teachers, they want the students to actually write out the information and not type it because of the easier ability it is to cheat when you're doing an online activity, right? So they want everything written out. But if the teacher or professor cannot read the writing, then that's a problem. So maybe it's working on penmanship. Perhaps it's joining a sport and they want to make it onto the team. So maybe that's a goal. So putting together that goal, then also have them not only just set the goals, but come up with a game plan. How are you going to achieve that goals? What are you going to do? If you are leaving middle school and you're going to high school and you want to join a sport, what do you need to do this summer perhaps to prepare yourself for that sport? Or if you're in high school and you want to go from being on like the JV team onto the varsity team, what are some things that you're going to have to do this summer in order to get your body prepared to try out for the varsity team? So goal setting is another one that's important for the students to do to get them in the framework of, okay, where am I at and where do I want to go? Another thing you want them to do is give you feedback. You see, just like they need feedback from you during the school year so that they can improve on their skills, you're going to need feedback from them. What is working well? What is not working well? How can you improve? So I always have my students give me feedback. How did they like certain things? What did they find difficult? What did they find challenging? How can I improve upon them? What do they think that we should do more of in class? What should we do less of in class? What helped them the most to prepare them for the state test? Because I teach 8th grade, so my 8th graders are taking the state test, which covers 6th, 7th, and 8th grade science standards. And even though I only have them for 8th grade, is there something I can do to prepare them for a test that covers 3 years of science standards? A lot of the test is writing. So even though we do lots of CERs throughout the whole entire year, should I do more? Should I change how I do the CERs? Should I give them more support in the beginning with it? Should I release and have them do it on more of their own at the end? So those are some things that I'm asking for on feedback. And then also, I want them to know feedback of, how do they make them feel in the classroom? Did I make this a positive learning environment? Did they feel welcomed in the classroom? Did they feel like they could share out? Did they feel that I could call upon them and they were confident to share their ideas without feeling that they were going to be made fun of or something? So how did I make them feel in the classroom? And what could I do to improve that? How could I make this a more positive classroom? How can I make it so that they take more ownership of their learning, that they are learning the skills they're going to need in life? What can I do? So I do ask them for feedback. I also ask them to rate me on a scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate me as a science teacher that is helping you prepare for life and also for science and that state test? And if they don't score me a 10, I ask them, what can I do to improve upon that? Now, you're going to get some questions or some answers that are going to be don't give us any homework, or just let us watch videos all day and let us play games. Those are not the answers. You're always going to get those. But what you are going to get is also a lot of really good, heartfelt answers where the students are really saying, hey, this is what helped me, but I will need more of this. Maybe you can provide more instruction on it. Maybe give more directions. Maybe make the directions a little easier. So those are some feedback that you'll want to look at. So ignore the feedback of, oh, just let us do what we want, and actually look at the really good feedback that you're going to get from some of your amazing students there, and use that to help you move forward. The last thing that you'll want to do at the end of the year is you're going to want the students to do some processing time. You see, especially if the students are actually going to be changing schools. Like my 8th graders are moving on to high school. A lot of them are terrified. I know you think, what's to be scary? They should be excited to move on to high school. No, a lot of them are scared to actually move schools and move into high school, because now they're going from the big man on campus to the low man on the totem pole, right? They're going to be there. They're going to be 9th graders, 14-year-olds with seniors who are 18, who are adults who are going to be moving on. And that is scary. So give them some processing time. Have them take out a piece of paper and write down all the fears they have. Have them write down what they're looking forward to next year and what they're afraid of for next year. Now, this is not something that you're going to read. It's not something that they're going to share with anyone. It just allows them to take what's in their head, put it on paper. You can have them do some drawings on it if you want to. And what I like to do is I have all those papers, they're writing everything down. They crumple them up. They put it into a bag for me. And then we hang the bag up and we look at it and we say, look, this is what everyone's thinking about. This is what's going on right now. This is a lot of stuff, right? And then sometimes I'll put it in like a black garbage bag so no one can see it. And I'll pass it around. I'll say, just hold this out. Hold it in your arm for 1 minute straight. Pass it. Hold it for 1 minute straight. And what they can do is they can feel the weight. And I say, this is a heavy thing. We're all going through some heavy things sometimes. So just know that when you're talking to someone else, that they might be going through some harder times. They might be having a lot of things on their mind, right? So just give them some grace and compassion and some understanding. So that's what I like to do. Again, we start off with them reflecting on the year, how it went, what they've learned about themselves, what they are now able to do. We go into then goal setting. What do we want to do next? what are some things we're looking forward to? How are we going to accomplish those goals? We go into feedback, providing me feedback. How can I improve for next year? And then processing time. What are you looking forward to? What are you afraid of? What are your thoughts about moving on to the next grade and, maybe changing schools? Because again, some students are also, going to be moving away from their friends. So what are you concerned about? What are you worried about? And getting that done. So that's what you can do at the end of the school year with your students to, wrap up that year and send them off into the next year.